Parasocial animals, such as wolves, communicate non-verbally in a situation in which verbal communication would be undesirable, a hunt, for example. Such species have developed a gaze-following ability, which, as the name suggests, is the ability of a species to follow the gaze of a human or a conspecific, that is, another member of its own species. In 2011, Frederick Range and Sophia Varani published a research article titled The Development of Gaze-Following Ability in Wolves. The subject of gaze-following ability into the distance and beyond a barrier has been found to show evidence of a species' adaptation to its environment and lifestyle over time. Therefore, it was the primary aim of this experiment to compare the ontogeny, that is, the developmental process, of the gaze-following ability in wolves to that of other species known to possess high levels of cooperative and competitive interactions, such as primates and corvids. At 14 weeks of age, the ability of the wolves to follow human gaze into distant space was tested by an experimenter standing in front of the wolf and engaging eye contact before looking to space at a 90-degree angle. This was performed every 3 weeks. The immediate response and latency in this test and the control test, in which the experimenter looked at a point directly beside the wolf, were measured. From this, it was found that the ability to follow gaze into distant space was already developed at the age of 14 weeks, and was predicted to be due to the lifestyle of the wolves in their natural habitat at this age, that is, playful and active. At 16 weeks of age, the wolves began being tested for their ability to follow the gaze of a human and conspecific around a barrier. These tests were repeated once per month. For this experiment, 2 experimenters were required. E2 held the wolf on a collar and lead on one side of the obstacle, while E1 stood at the end of the barrier and looked to the opposite side after establishing eye contact with the wolf. The wolf was tested on whether or not it moved to the other side of the barrier for inspection, as well as how long it took. To test the gaze-following ability of a conspecific, the experiment was repeated, with an adult dog situated where E1 would usually stand, E2 holding the wolf on a lead, and E1 standing behind E2 and commanding the dog to look to the opposite side of the barrier. The results were recorded in the same manner as before. From this series of experiments, it was shown that by the age of 6 months, wolves could reliably follow the gaze of a conspecific and to some extent that of a human around a visual barrier. It was also found that the wolves responded faster and at a younger age to the gaze of the dogs, which showed the ability to follow conspecific gaze is present at a younger age. Accumulation of these results showed that the high thinking required for gaze following around a barrier was not only present in primates and corvids, but canines as well, which provides evidence for similar cognitive mechanisms between the families. These findings supported the hypothesis that the 2 different gaze-following types required different cognitive mechanisms to facilitate them, and hence animals with high levels of cooperative and competitive interactions developed both types due to the selection pressures for both types to be developed.